In 1935, a particular lightning bolt first appeared in Universal's Bride of Frankenstein. The electrical effects in this scene are by Kenneth Strickfaden and special photographic effects by John P. Fulton, who was head of special effects at Universal. That's the lightning bolt I'm talking about. Who actually made the lightning bolt? I don't know. Let's call it the Bride of Frankenstein bolt. Take a close look at what makes this specific lightning bolt unique. Notice the weird hook and a loop on the top left, and the specific way it branches. How was it made? Lightning is and was difficult to photograph, so this probably wasn't shot with a motion picture camera. It doesn't move, it just changes in brightness. Was it derived from a photo? Was it hand-drawn? Was it a stencil? I don't know. How would you do it with the available materials of the time? Visual effects in 1935 were expensive. One way to get your money's worth then and now is to reuse them. So the shot was repeated 3 times during this sequence, once as a mirror image, which makes it look like a different lightning bolt. Which one is the correct one? Who knows? Now, later, the very same year that Bride of Frankenstein came out, the same lightning bolt appeared in a couple other movies. Universal's The Raven with Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff, and also a non-Universal, non-horror movie, RKO's musical Top Hat with Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. How did it get over to a rival studio? Did you notice that both The Raven and Top Hat lightning bolts are brighter than Bride of Frankenstein, and in fact most subsequent appearances are brighter than the original? The Bride of Frankenstein lightning bolt continued to make appearances in spooky horror movies, including some follow-ups to Frankenstein. In Son of Frankenstein, the lightning was rear projected on the set so the actors could see it.
What a dreadful storm.
It also showed up in Ghost of Frankenstein.
It's magnificent.
And the lightning bolt showed up in other genres as well. Here it is in Alfred Hitchcock's spy thriller, Saboteur. So exciting. And here it is in the equally exciting Commando Cody, Sky Marshal of the Universe. A Republic serial that was shown in Saturday matinees in 1953. Cult director Ed Wood must have had some fondness for Bride of Frankenstein. And maybe this lightning bolt in particular, since he stuck it right after his own name. By the 1960s, movies are increasingly being made in color, so the lightning bolts had to adapt. In 1960's Portrait in Black from Universal, we get our first glimpse of a commonly used background plate often used with this lightning bolt. In this particular movie, the lightning was stretched to fit the wider aspect ratio, but we more commonly see it like this, in standard def and not always so dark. Look at that cloud pattern. I don't know which movie this color version of the bolt first appeared in, maybe a color B picture like a Western from the 1950s. When this background plate is used, the lightning generally has the same position relative to the clouds, with the hook on the top right, but sometimes it strobes differently. The animation is fairly simple in 1961's Reptilicus, which maybe was just working with a still frame from Universal film stock. That background plate isn't always used, especially in non-Universal productions. Here's Twice Told Tales from United Artists in 1963, and Embassy Pictures' Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter, which double featured with Billy the Kid vs. Dracula in 1966. Also, maybe the young Brian De Palma knew about it because it got cleverly inserted into this shot in 1974's Phantom of the Paradise, an unusual instance in which it didn't fill the screen. By the late 1970s, several versions of the clip, mostly with that specific background plate, were part of the Universal stock footage library, and widescreen versions of them can be bought to this day. The main difference is the coloring. You got your daytime lighting, your evening lighting, that over-the-top spooky one with the moon, and a different background. So in the 70s, we increasingly see these Universal versions used in shows produced by Universal TV, like Columbo, and The $6 Million Man. The 1978 Incredible Hulk used a heavily processed version in the opening credits, and also in an episode where Lou Ferrigno saves a woman from being electrocuted. In the 80s, Elvira used it, and so did performance artist Meredith Monk. It showed up in Murder, She Wrote on at least 7 occasions, and also in other shows like Moonlighting.
You mean tonight?
The most recent use I'm aware of was in 2022 when Disney's She-Hulk paid homage to the 1978 Hulk series by mimicking their opening credits. The Bride of Frankenstein lightning bolt has probably appeared in hundreds of movies and TV shows. These are just a few I've spotted. Now that you've seen it, perhaps you can help me find more. Every time I see this lightning bolt, I am reminded of how far back it goes, to the original creation of the Bride of the Monster way back in 1935. And did you know it's often accompanied with a stock sound effect, which is used far more often? Good old Castle Thunder, which came from 1931's Frankenstein.
Don't touch that!
I'm sorry, Doctor.
But that's a story for someone else to tell.